Part 70. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 696. Chapter 696 Demon Mark Ominous Ore. We were deceived by the Meng of Sky Sword section Blood Crystal Stone in the Yao Liquid Magical Abnormal. Chen surname Cultivator wound almost instantly healed, but his face is on the contrary. He emerged from the pain of the god Se, before he was Wei Suo with Mystic Fiend Yin Chi package, are motionless, there is no resistance, and there is no pain in the face of the god Se. It is evident that his pain at this moment, not from the wound, but from the memories of the past. At the beginning, my parents and our two other friends were all slightly through vein observing prospecting technique. The Heaven's Dome was going to kill a few monster beasts and look around to see if there were any veins. But that time it happened to meet a few Sky Sword sect cultivators. The Sky Sword sect cultivators saw that we were slightly through the vein observing prospecting technique and said that we would hire us to help them explore a spiritual stone's vein. Sky Sword sect is so powerful that the cultivation bases of the cultivators we encountered are far above us, and they are extremely rewarding, so we dare not violate them. /p. But we followed them. After they said the spiritual stone's veins, we are all present. What they want us to explore is not the ordinary spiritual stones. It is simply Demon Mark Ominous Vein. And in the secret place, we have gathered a lot of cultivators like us. They just want to fill in with human life to explore the secret place. /p. Had is Demon Mark Ominous Vein. Suo listened quietly, heard this secret place, asked for surging sound. Iman Mark Ominous Vein is a unique landform. In a few mountains or a wasteland, there are dozens of straight and erected abyss, and looking down from above, it is like a crack that Demon King's giant claws grabbed on the ground. And some of the ground cracks are close to the bottom of the fire, bleeding like red light. Almost all the classics on the exploration of the veins are recorded. Below this landform, there is a very great treasure, may have spiritual stones veins, but also associated with other veins, but also recorded in the classics. This kind of landform is the ancient world when the breaking up has been formed. The era is very remote. In this kind of landform, there is likely to be many abyss monster beast gather, even manifestation out terrifying demon thing. Therefore, this kind of place is extremely fierce for all prospecting cultivators. Basically, all the cultivators who know the vein observing prospecting technique slightly must see their grievances and flee, because they follow according to the records of the classics. Even the periphery of this landform is extremely dangerous. Many prospective cultivators have fallen into it, and many of them are different, which is not understood by ordinary cultivators. Hence surnamed cultivator in the eyes of unconscious flow one you out of a fear of the god Se. They know that there is Demon Mark Ominous Vein, and that is to force you to go down and explore. If you disobey, will you kill it directly? Suo took a deep breath and asked slowly. Not bad. When we came to the secret place, it was at night, and we saw that the blood light was skyrocketing. We saw it as Demon Mark Ominous Vein. When it was wrong, Sky Sword Sex Cultivator had completely changed its face. If you don't enter the Demon Mark Ominous Vein, you will kill it immediately. Hence surnamed cultivator trembled slightly and gritted his teeth. Wei Suo didn't talk, slowly looked up at the sky. His face was calm, but his hands were undetectable and slightly trembling. In the sky above, the moon is bright and the night is like water. He could feel the horror and helplessness of his parents and Chen surnamed cultivator before he went to the Demon Mark Ominous Vein and saw the sky light in the night. Now he is the heaven-shaking cultivation base of the Golden Core 4th layer. He has the township shapeshift great art. Even Lin Taixu and so many old antique level great treasure cultivators are not his opponent, but he is also there is no shapeshift great art at all to change the past. Even with divine ability of great treasure, there is no shapeshift great art to shuttle time and space. In the past, he could not appear there before his parents went to the Demon Mark Ominous Vein, killing all the Sky Sword sect cultivators. Save their parents. Now he is such a divine ability, but his parents are no longer there. What happened later? After a moment of silence, Wei Suo bowed his head and looked at Chen's cultivator and continued to ask. When we were deceived by the Sky Sword sect cultivator, some cultivators have been rushed into the fierce veins. It has been determined that there are several spiritual stones veins present. Hen surnamed cultivator looked at Wei Suo, but the people of Sky Sword sect, in addition to letting some cultivators continue to explore these spiritual stones veins, let us be clarified by various means to understand the direction of each exhausted spiritual chi spiritual vein. Nong know what these spiritual chi spiritual vein leads to secret place. Depleted spiritual chi spiritual vein? Is Sky Sword sect looking for? Is there a sea immortal sect that spiritual chi has not completely lost the broken spiritual vein? No. Nong knows the direction of these spiritual chi spiritual vein. It is also possible to find a ruins of a secret place. In ancient times, spiritual vein was generally occupied by the northern Zhang men. Especially if several spiritual veins are together, it is difficult to be occupied by Zhang men. The great treasure's spiritual vein can give birth to a powerful sect in ancient times. By the way, they might just want to go through these exhausted spiritual vein and enter the ruins of the ancient ancestors. Rian-robed old man heard the words of Chen's cultivator, and even surging sound, more and more G, not only called. We later had hundreds of cultivators with a little through the veins, and they were rushed into Demon Mark Ominous Vein to explore the direction of these depleted spiritual veins. Because of the fear of familiar cultivators, what happened to Nong, Sky Sword Sex cultivator, separated me from your parents and my other two friends, and other cultivators that I don't know, 5 or 6 people group, explored in the Demon Mark Ominous Vein. This time, Chen surnamed cultivator went on. Before I saw Demon Mark Ominous Vein, we already felt that there were so many fears and sorrows. If someone can survive, and the rest of the people have nothing to do, the survivor can do it, he will help him. The last words left by your parents are just that they fall, let us not tell you anything, no matter what. /p. Wei Suo's face sinks in the water, but his hands are slightly trembling, and it is difficult to calm down in his heart. At the moment, besides the infatuated Li Ziyi, the Nong is still unclear, and the rest of the people are still very clear. The reason why his parents left such a last word is that they don't want Wei Suo to know them. It was because of Sky Sword sect that it was a fear that Wei Suo would find a way to avenge Sky Sword section, because for the general cultivator, the level of great treasure, such as Sky Sword sect, is too high. Like the stalwart mountain, there is no shapeshift great art at all. Although we are separated, there are exactly the shapeshift great art in our hands, which can sense the life and death of our friends at that time. Demon Mark Ominous Vein was amazed. Later, shortly after I entered with several cultivators, there was a great treasure vibrating in the north side of the ground. All the places in the square were collapsed. The lotus cord in my hand is burning all over the ash. Except for me, your parents and 2 other friends are all fallen. Later we several cultivator in a exhaustion spiritual vein, met an unknown evil thing, was the evil thing to kill, the rest of cultivator also all died, only I and another cultivator lucky escaped into a seam. At the end of the cultivator Jing, I relied on the cultivator, followed him, and escaped from the Demon Mark Ominous Vein area along a dark iron Jing gold vein. /p. Later, and I thought that fellow deist of Liao's name thought it was completely safe, but I didn't think that the cultivators of Sky Sword sect actually sneaked restrictions on us. We have escaped from Demon Mark Ominous Vein for more than 2000. After that, he was caught up by a Sky Sword sect cultivator. Originally I and that Liao surname fellow deist must also die in that Sky Sword sect cultivator, but do not know is our life should never or the Sky Sword sect the bad luck, unexpectedly is just lead a strong monster beast come over, the Sky Sword sect cultivator instead, and that head monster beast fight, by that head monster beast hit seriously injured, landed in our hands. I asked the Sky Sword sect cultivator bye-bye, and I and the Liao surnamed fellow deist learned that we were in the heavenly sword yin pattern of sky sword section. This restrictions will take a few years to completely dissipate, except for the sky sword sect cultivator. No one is solvable outside, and as long as it is within 5,000 miles of the sky sword sect cultivator, it will be sensed. So I and Liao fellow deist didn't dare to stay nearby, and they fled to the northwest of heavenly profound continent, and for a few years, they stayed in the wilderness of Heaven Dome and dared not enter the city easily. Later, Liao fine deist fell in the hands of the monster beast in the wilderness. Hen surnamed cultivator took a deep breath and looked at Wei Suo. There was no news of the secret place demon mark ominous vein. It was very likely that the group was known to the secret place by Sky Sword section the prospecting cultivator. I am left alone. After the meal, Chen surnamed cultivator looked at Wei Suo. That time I went back to Spirit Peak City. I wanted to inquire about your news. Because when we left Spirit Peak City, you were still young, I think. You may not be alive. Even if you are alive, you may not be in Spirit Peak City, but I did not expect that. I have not heard from you. Just after Smith Peak City, it was instead hit by you. I recognized it. I am afraid that you will desperately trace the things of the day and lead to the murder of the body, so I will leave and let this thing be unknown. It just that I didn't think that you have such a divine ability now. /P. Chen Shu, I had a very great treasure misunderstanding before you. I am disrespectful, please accept me. Upon hearing this secret place, Wei Suo took a gift to Chen's cultivator and matched his elders. Chen surnamed cultivator naked body slightly swayed, looking at Wei Suo for a long time. Your appearance is very similar to your father, divine ability, you are now, if your parents know, you will be extremely proud. /P. Chen Shu, the name of the few Sky Sword sect cultivators that killed my parents, do you know? Wei Suo looked at Chen's cultivator and asked. I only remember one of them. Chen surnamed cultivator hesitated, but said, Yin, if you are really my elder, then look at me and your parents' Jia lust. Listen to me, Sky Sword sect power is too great treasure, and if I know well, Sky Sword sect has an old antique called Huangpujualun, which has already hit divine mystic and is divine mystic great treasure. In the current lust shape, you still can't be impulsive, don't resist them. /P. KY Sword sect also has divine mystic great treasure. Ei Suo eyes flashed and said, Han Shu, please rest assured, I want to take revenge. I will naturally think of a perfect shapeshift great art. I am not sure, I will not fight with Sky Sword section. /P. So good. Chen surnamed cultivator great treasure breathed a sigh of relief and said, I only remember one of the Sky Sword sect cultivators called Wan Jianzan. Wei Suo nodded and continued to ask, where is the secret place demon mark ominous vein? He secret place demon mark ominous vein is far from heaven's dome, in the wilderness between heavenly profound continent and cloud spirit continent, with a nearby ancient desolate great treasure. The ancient desolate great treasure is connected to an ancient desolate great treasure lake, and the great treasure lake is also recorded in some classics, called Heavenly Mother Lake. /P. Evenly Mother Lake. Hearing this secret place, green-robed old man was again surprised by a surging sound. And Wei Suo's brows couldn't help but jump. The name of Heavenly Profound Continent and Cloud Spirit Continent, which is called by Chen Survivant, plus the name Heavenly Mother Lake, let him remember immediately, Heavenly Mother Lake got from him. It is also recorded in the ancestral hall Jade Talisman in Golden House. According to the Jade Talisman, more than 10,000 secret places on the east side of the Bai Bei site are Heavenly Mother Lake. In other words, the secret place demon mark ominous vein is not far from the Bai Bei site. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 697. Chapter 697 is for people. Chen Shu, have you ever gone to the secret place demon mark ominous vein? Wei Suo asked after thinking about it. Chen surnamed cultivator nodded. I naturally want to know what Sky Sword sect is in the secret place demon mark ominous vein secret place, so I collected several pieces of shapeshift great art for stealth years ago. Detected once. But within a few thousand miles of the secret place demon mark ominous vein, it has all been blocked by Sky Sword section. I have been lurking for many days in the periphery. I feel that there are times when there are many places in the sky, which seems to be on the scale of great treasure. The number of cultivators seems to be very large. And I spent a few nights and saw the great treasure light that only formed when the great treasure of spiritual stones was unearthed. It seems that no matter what, Sky Sword sect found at least the spiritual stones vein containing the great treasure spiritual stones in the secret place demon mark ominous vein. Many cultivators were stationed and mined day and night. I stayed there for many days. From now on, there are Xiao Team Sky Sword sect cultivator flying from the secret place and rushing. Many of them have a lot of treasure receiving pocket, which should be responsible for transporting the collection. Go to spiritual stones back to Sky Sword section. But as for the lust scene of the naked body in the mask, because my cultivation base is low, it is not dare to approach, it is not known. Sky Sword sect also have divine mystic great treasure can, young fellow, with your cultivation base, playing Sky Sword sect mountain men is certainly impossible, and SKY Sword sect is located in heavenly profound continent east and west secret place. You even in that great treasure make a scene, accounted for the great treasure cheap, cannot get away. Mystic Wind sect and True Martial sect all participate in the siege, but this secret place demon mark ominous vein is in the right position. Located in the wild secret place, you can just look at the ruins of Bai Bay and drop the secret place spiritual stones of Sky Sword section. You can also cross the wild and rush to Cloud Spirit continent. The surging sound of green-robed old man rang in Wei Suo's ear. Wei Suo didn't have surging sound, and his mind was exactly what he wanted. Among the demon mark ominous ore is the great treasure light that was formed when the great treasure spiritual stones was unearthed, indicating that the spiritual stones in this secret place is very impressive, even if it is not enough to rival the Sky Sword sect. Destroy Sky Sword sect's secret place spiritual stones veins also mean to cut off the extremely important source of resources for Sky Sword sect, a secret place, and a heavy blow to Sky Sword sect. And most importantly, Wei Suo always wanted to go to the fallen place of his parents. After so many years, he knows that even if he is stronger, divine ability, and no shapeshift great art has changed the result of his parents' fall, but he at least wants to see where his parents are. Right, Chen Shu, how can you collect King Kong Jing ore here? Oh, Wei Suo thought of this again and couldn't help but ask. The white old man told him that a total of 16 cultivators were looking for King Kong Jing ore in this Jinggong Jingpur mine, but at the moment with the Chen surname cultivator, the one you head is only 7 cultivators. The remaining 9 cultivators don't have a head. It only shows that the remaining 9 cultivators' cultivation base is not very good. Otherwise, even if the depth of the vein is deep, Wei Suo's breath and a Dao technique shapeshift great art shake the world. As long as it is a cultivator above the 3/4 layer of the thought division realm, it will definitely feel and should come out. There are no cultivators above the thought division realm 3/4 layer. This group of people dare to collect the King Kong Jing ore. This is a bit too wrong. In addition, there are so many cultivators in the past that the cultivator the way we look for lust, Wei Suo feels weird. They are also the same as ours, and they were forced to collect King Kong Jing ore here. Chen surnamed cultivator smiled a surging sound. How is it, Wei Suo's brows? He is the most low-grade Xiaorogue cultivator origin, which is the most incomprehensible of such things as Dongqing II and Su Jianhuan, who don't put the general cultivator in their eyes. Especially the things his parents encountered, even let him hate such things. The Ludo fellow Daoist is also a tool for understanding the pulse. Chen surname cultivator. Side white gray old man, they were originally Dong City a firm in rogue cultivator, before beast tied to attack, avoid to Zuji city near, the result encounter to Rongjiang number cultivate or, the names of the cultivator planted restrictions on them, so that they would gather the gold jing ore in 1 month before they left them. I also happened to pass by. When I met them, I stopped here and used some of my exploration techniques to help them collect the Jing ore. Long Qianzong, what is this? Wei Suo looked at the white old man and the rest of the cultivators. It is a medium-sized sect in Yuqiangchinj. There is no golden core cultivator, but the cultivators that are forced by them are the elders of Long Qianzong. They are the cultivation base of the thought division realm 4th layer 5th layer. I am not their opponent, so I can only do my best to see if I can collect enough quantities of King Kong Jing or Chen surnamed cultivator smiled. I think even if you have collected enough King Kong Jing ore for them, these Long Qianzong cultivators may not let them go, maybe they will do other things. Wei Suo's eyes are sullen. This kind of squad that doesn't even have a golden core stage cultivator, dare to do such a thing. The cultivation world has always been the case, the cultivation base is high, the pressure cultivation base is low, and the background pressure has no background. Chen surnamed cultivator looked at Wei Suo. Heavenly profound continent northern part is restrained by the beast net, most of the great treasures still dare to come to Xuanhuan, but now completely Xuanhuan, but no one at all. Heaven's dome has to be completely cracked. The status of cultivator and monster beast will be completely replaced. The cultivators will have to oppress each other and fight. Wei Suo's thought first appeared in his mind, but then he shook his head silently. Because he himself is also very clear, this lust situation is impossible to change. And that's why he didn't want to spread the news of Heaven's Dome life essence. Because if this news spreads out, the profit must be the great treasure. Those level of great treasure squadmen must be desperately trying to scrape resources. Great treasure fish eat xiao fish, desperately to ensure their own safety. Great treasure is difficult to approach. These sects do something but instead have more usual scruples. Ordinary the cultivator won't get any good secret places, but the entire cultivation world may be Xuanhuan before Heaven's Dome is completely cracked. What kind of restrictions did the people of Long Qianzong lay on your body? What are the people of Long Qianzong now secret place? After secretly shaking his head, Wei Suo asked. They are in the eclipse of more than 1,000 miles from this secret place. The white and old Lu surnamed the old man replied, we don't know what restrictions they have placed on us. We only think that there is a group of origin Chibo in the Xiong mouth. They warned us that true Yuan could not be used to touch the origin Qi, otherwise they would immediately notice. And whoever touches the origin Qi, if they let it go, they will kill the person who killed the origin Qi directly. According to my estimation, it is the restrictions of inner Qi. These restrictions can only be valid within a radius of 2,000 miles, so the place they stay is not too far from this secret place. However, if the cultivator of such restrictions is in the process, it is not difficult to open the restrictions, but after the restrictions are opened, they will still feel the position within the next few hours. Chen surnamed cultivator seems to have some understanding of the various restrictions, as Wei Suo explained. You try to get rid of these restrictions, and your other companions, you also find them out, let them also open these restrictions. Wei Suo said this to the white and old Lu surname, and then asked, what is the eclipse? The white old man knew that Wei Suo had to help them deal with the cultivator of the dragon Qianzong. After a lot of sighs, he explained, this is also a landform in the vein observing classics. The two mountains are in the shape of a figure. There are many low hills on the mountain, like a raft. There are few trees on the mountain. This kind of landform is said to bring bad luck to the cultivator staying in it. The general cultivator may not believe this, but there is a cultivator that studies the vein observing books, which is similar to the detectivator of the pedigree, but they are all convincing, they are not credible, and they generally see such landforms. I dare not enter. Because these cultivator by of Long Qianzong forced me to wait, we saw that it was the kind of landform, they chose to stay in it, and we did not say anything. It seems that many of the records on these vein observing books are likely to be true, said. The old man could not help but say something in awe. Because it is obvious that desuability and cultivation base such as Weisuo, then those Long Qianzong cultivators will definitely pour great treasure. Heaven and earth, even the legendary true immortal level great treasure, there is no shapeshift great art at all to understand all the secret places, not to mention their ordinary cultivator. The legend of the earth's veins is about air transport, and it is not known at all. However, for prospecting cultivators, there are more and more fallen in various landforms every year, so such cultivators are more awesome to the heavens and the earth. There is a great treasure cultivator for us. They stayed in the secret place Eclipse, and it turned out to be a great treasure. My restrictions are running away. Among the white glory of the old man, such as the old man, the other cultivators were also shouted from the deep secret place in the veined body of the mountain. The restrictions left by Long Qianzong's several cultivators in their naked body are not difficult to open. Soon, the restrictions in these cultivator naked bodies are washed away one by one. They're here. After the time of the great treasure is less than the half stick of incense, in the sky of the secret place, there is a surging sound, a black se stream, towards the secret place mountain where Weisuo and others are located. Jishi came. Weisuo converges on the air and quietly looks at the streamer. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 698. Chapter 698 Ancient Fragrance. After a while, the stream of black se has already flown to the secret place not far above the head of Weisuo et al. This black seascape light is a shapeshift great art in the shape of a black se canoe with a total of 4 cultivators standing on it. Weisuo's eyes are much higher than the general cultivator. When the 4 cultivators haven't seen him clearly, he has carefully looked at the 4 cultivators. I saw that the 4 cultivators are 3 men and 1 envy, an old man, a middle-aged man and a pair of young men. The old man's face is long and narrow, with a goatee beard. The elliptical great treasure stone with more than 20 bright yellow se on his body is very strange. The middle-aged man's facial features are very correct, but his eyes are full of baleful aura, which is very fierce. The body is covered with a redskin shape-shift great art robe, and the left and right chests are 2 3-legged patterns. Among a pair of young male NVS, the man is wearing a purple se robe, wearing a white U crown, skin se white, and NV is a shapeshift great art clothing wearing a green se, hand held a silver se long, a plum-like flower yellow in the eyebrows, with a golden step on the head, the face is round, and the appearance is also very yan. At this moment, the gods on the faces of these 4 cultivators are somewhat amazed. After flying hundreds of feet, the 4 cultivators also saw Weisuo and Ziyi. You guys, these 4 cultivator work is also very cautious. See the white-gray land cultivator, a group of people all gathered in Weisuo and Ziyi behind, and then see Weisuo and Ziyi seems imposing extraordinary appearance. These 4 name cultivato are is also not immediately difficult, looking at one another, the face under the narrow, with a wisp of goatee old man first out surging sound asked. We are not who we are rabbits. Weisuo hasn't answered yet, and has always been stupid. Ziyi, who was still under the surging sound, has directly answered the sentence. Rabbit Ziyi's words are exported, not to mention the 4 cultivators of Long Qianzong. Even the batch of cultivators behind Weisuo are bowed. What do you mean? Ziyi's face is very old, looks different from the previous one, and its spiritual chi is now absorbed by Weisuo with the shapeshift great art, so the 4 cultivators can't see his identity at all. After a trip, 4 among the cultivators, the only female cultivator frowned, as Ziyi said. Means nothing, are you a rabbit? Ziyi looked at the female cultivator seriously. It seems that because there are many female cultivators around Weisuo, and Han Weiwei and Ji Yat are very beautiful, so he seems to have a good impression on the beautiful female cultivator, and feel that the beautiful female cultivator may be a rabbit. You. You are a rabbit. The dragon cultivator of Long Qianzong thought that Li Ziyi was deliberately swearing and suddenly screamed. Yeah, I am a rabbit. Li Ziyi looked at the female cultivator with some incomprehension. You, female cultivator is so angry that her face is red. Sister, don't be angry, this person seems to be a fool. Female cultivator. The young male cultivator wearing a purple SE robes reminds the female cultivator. You are a fool, I am a rabbit. Li Ziyi's ear pointed, heard, squinting at the young male cultivator. Even if you are a rabbit, you may have to become a dead person. The young male cultivator chilled out a surging sound and looked at Wei Suo, who had never spoken. Are you who? The restrictions on them are you under? Are you saying that they want to collect thousands of gold jing or before they let them go? Wei Suo did not answer the question of the young male cultivator, but asked. How, listen to what you mean, are you trying to help them out? The eyes of the young male cultivator squirmed slightly. Don't be reckless. The oldest of the four cultivators were the most cautious, drinking a surging sound against the young male cultivator, and then holding a fist at Wei Suo, saying, in the Long Qiang Zone, Elder Zhangruyi. I don't know which cultivator you are. I don't want to talk nonsense. With your actions, even if I kill you all, you have nothing to complain about. You will leave all the treasure receiving pocket and shapeshift great art on your body. I can give you a way to let you go. Wei Suo still did not answer the words of the elder Long Qianzong named Zhangruo, coldly said. Good grease treasure, this time it was the young female cultivator. The first one couldn't help but scream. So the great treasure, do you think you are domineering, Reverend Wei Suo? I am doing, green-robed old man couldn't help but call a surging sound in Wei Suo's ear. He didn't think that this young female cultivator would say such a sentence. Wei Suo was also a slight glimpse, and he immediately glanced at the female cultivator. Why, if I were Wei Suo's, you would obediently obey. If I didn't, wouldn't you listen? But of course, the young female cultivator looked at Wei Suo contemptuously. You want us to leave all of our treasure receiving pocket and shapeshift great art, and at least we have to come out with divine ability that makes us obedient. So if I tell you, I am Wei Suo looked at the female cultivator and said faintly. If you are Wei Suo, then I am Shui Ling. The young female cultivator seems to have heard a joke like a sly smile. Well, green-robed old man couldn't help but scream, young fellow, Shui Ling is your Dao companion, she dares to call yourself Dao companion, that is, I want to give it to you, or if you just let her do it, just show me. Well, I tell you, I am just a normal rogue cultivator, no identity. But just want to be in their heads. Wei Suo ignored the words of green-robed old man and looked at the young female cultivator and said, what are you going to do now? It's just a normal rogue cultivator, and it's such a great treasure, which makes us risk at night in heaven's dome. It's natural to kill you and let them continue to collect jing gold for us. Female cultivator sneered a surging sound, turned his head and looked at Zhangruo, who was next to him. Zhang Chang, I don't think this person is like a men cultivator, it is really just a rogue cultivator. The tone is such a great treasure, definitely cumbersome, don't be reckless. Zhangruo is so determined, sound transmission has such a sentence, and looked at Wei Suo. Lang surging sound said, this fellow deist, I see you are also extraordinary, why don't we be friends, why bother for these low-grade rogue cultivator peaceful? I have already said that, leaving your treasure receiving pocket and shapeshift great art, I will give you a way to live. Wei Suo has no nonsense at all, calmly speaking. Too crazy, Elder Zhang, don't talk nonsense with this person. Can we still kill him? So many people? The young female cultivator looked at Wei Suo and sneered. Look at your NV person's share, I will give you another chance, I will tell you again, I am Wei Suo. Wei Suo glanced at the young female cultivator and said. Then you will die. A young female cultivator, very ruthless of a surging sound sneer, straight out a little, a green SE disc-shaped brilliance, toward Wei Suo. At the same time, Zhang Ruolai and other 3 Long Qianzan cultivators are also shining in front of Guanghua, and they have their own shapeshift great art great treasure. I have given you a chance, you don't want to. Wei Suo stood in the same place, just reaching out, pa, a dark golden sword chi directly smashed the green se disc-shaped brilliance, directly in the eyes of the young female cultivator on the body of the young female cultivator. The young female cultivator was directly smashed into 2 segments and instantly killed. Young fellow, you are too little. Seeing, green-robed old man cried out, this is a female cultivator, if you want to kill, at least Jian and then kill, let me see and say. Ah! At the same time, Zhang Ruolai and other 3 Long Qianzan cultivators saw the young female cultivator being spiked without any resistance, and suddenly screamed surging sound. In the screaming surging sound, the middle-aged cultivator wearing a red shapeshift great art suit, each with a red light, hit Wei Suo. Chi! But the sound of surging sound, and the dark golden sword light of Pangret treasure, directly smashed the red light of this middle-aged cultivator, and then strangled in this middle-aged cultivator without stopping on the body. The red-skinned separate light from the shapeshift great art on the cultivator was just flashed. It was directly smashed like a layer of paper, and the naked body was directly smashed into 2 pieces. Hong! At the same time, a group of golden 2se brilliance emerged from the front of Wei Suo's, with the momentum of the giant mountain crushing, from the front of Wei Suo's, Zhang Ruol and another young cultivator, a grey se Guanghua and a green se Guanghua played crushed. The brilliance of this golden 2se is the Wei Suo's men's flying sword, because the material of the flying sword and the shapeshift great art array are beneficial to Wei Suo to form the gold spirit root, so he also uses it from time to time. Screw your sister flying sword. You are really domineering Reverend Wei Suo. Dear God, he really killed the domineering Reverend Wei Suo of Lin Taixu and Mystic Wind sect old antique. As soon as Wei Suo saw the flying sword, Zhang Ruo and the remaining young cultivator were all shocked and unbelievably exclaimed. Pa! But their exclaimed surging sound is just out, the men's flying sword has been pressed onto them, just a light shot, the bones of the 2 cultivators are all broken, just like taking flies, being taken from the air was photographed and killed in an instant. A face is killed, the 4 cultivators of the Thought Division Realm 4th layer 5th layer did not fight back. He actually killed the old antique, of Lin Taixu and Mystic Wind section. When I heard Zhang Ruol and the other young cultivator exclaimed before death, the cultivators behind Wei Suo were also shocked and almost stopped breathing. It seems that the news that Lin Taixu and others have been killed has been thoroughly spread, but these people just heard the news, do not know the lust shape of the naked body, otherwise they know that Li Zi has been mad, saved by me. I am afraid to see when it comes to us, it will not be such a reaction. Wei Suo didn't stop, divine consciousness swept away and grabbed the treasure receiving pocket on the 4 cultivator bodies. Do you know what this is? Rongjong is not what great treasure men, the 4 cultivator and the previous he kill the old antique level of the difference does not know how many times the distance, what they have, Wei Suo also have nothing to expect, of which 3 treasury receiving pocket of things, it is indeed prosaic, but another treasure receiving pocket one thing, but let him take a surprise, instantly attracted his attention. This is a 3-inch long amber seancient fragrance, thin, the appearance and ordinary incense burner midpoint of the incense no difference, but this ancient fragrance give people the first feeling, but is extremely long, and above scattered a very mysterious strong great treasure breath. Even Wei Suo look at this one xiao cut ancient fragrance, have even kind of and this section ancient fragrance compared, very faint xiao feeling. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 699. Chapter 699 Earth Mother Ancient Scripture. Wei Suo got an amazing amount of treasure receiving pocket from Eastern Desolate Sect, from the great treasure cultivator he killed, an old antique. These treasure receiving pockets were all installed in an ordinary black iron box. They were originally placed on the back of the Phoenix Green Eagle. Now the Phoenix Green Eagle is put into the slave bag, Now the black iron box is carried in the hands of Li Ziyi. This black iron box is just a common thing, but the thickness of the black iron can block the divine consciousness of the general cultivator. It doesn't look like shapeshift great art great treasure, so Li Ziyi carries the box in just 4 cultivators. The eyes are very funny, even Wei Suo said that he is domineering reverend, the 4 cultivators are not believed. Wei Suo has gotten so many treasure receiving pockets, although there are also many spiritual Yao and materials that are unknown. But apart from the fragment of the great treasure Xiao and the giant great treasure arm of the young secret storage bracelet that had been passed down by 3 sovereigns sect, there was no such thing as eccentric. How is this breath so terrifying? It doesn't seem like a scent, it's a great treasure mountain, and this breath is not like the divine mystic great treasure. The green-robed old man, who had been stunned by Wei Suo before, was not completely smothered. It was also completely shaken by the ancient fragrance. This section of ancient fragrance does not see any rune. It seems to be made of a certain kind of spice powder, and there is a broken trace at one end. It seems that it is not a complete one. It has been folded. Ancient fragrance through the naked body to present amber se, the start is actually very heavy, Xioxios one actually has a few tens of pounds. There is a quiet fragrance, and the surface of Seze seems to have accumulated countless years, giving people a feeling of greatness. Wei Suo is now holding this illusion of ancient fragrance, which is the same feeling as green-robed old man, as if facing a dazzling great treasure mountain, he has a feeling of ignorance. Not divine mystic great treasure can breathe, is it true immortal realms great treasure can refine the shapeshift great art? When he heard green-robed old man, this thought came to his mind and he couldn't help but tremble. It seems like there is text. The moonlight shines on this ancient fragrance, and Wei Suo is shocked by the fact that there seems to be a flash of light on the amber seancient fragrance, but these words are too thin, so Wei Suo has no shapeshift great art at all. Clear. It's a weird thing, it's unheard of, green-robed old man can't help but again great treasure. I knew that I would use some strength to stop them and talk about them. Wei Suo intuitively, this thing is not the same, but I can't see the mystery in it, and the smell of this thing is so amazing that he doesn't dare to know it, and he can't help but feel annoyed. He thought in his heart, and then, if he was against the enemy, he could take the opportunity to kneel down. Even if there is nothing special about him, he can also ask if there is any news about Buddha nature holy fruit. Right, Chen Shu, do you know about the Buddha nature holy fruit? Because of this point, so in some annoyed first to pick up this eccentric ancient fragrance, Wei Suo also turned around and looked at Chen surnamed cultivator and so on. Previously, it was learned from Han Yuer's mouth that Cloud Spirit Continent may have Buddha nature holy fruit in the hands of Zongmen, but it is not known at all, but it is definitely not known at that time. No one knows if there is any Buddha nature holy fruit. I only know that it is an ancient desolate that says it works for divine mystic cultivator. It has a naked body, but it doesn't know where it is. Chen surnamed cultivator shook his head. The rest of the cultivators are also shaking their heads, all of which are unaware of this rare and extremely great antiquity sacred fruit. Can you do me a favor? After shook his head helplessly, Wei Suo, who still didn't get a useful message, looked at Chen's cultivator and other humanities, help me get to the south of heavenly profound continent, look for a few cultivators and tell them some messages. If there are no predecessors, we will help them collect so many Jingjin, they may not let us go, our lives are precious to be saved by the predecessors, but such a xiao thing, we should do our best. The white and green surname cultivator and others all nodded and said. I know that if you disclose it, it is very dangerous. No shapeshift great art personally went to the news. Rest assured, this matter is for us to do. If this message is about great treasure, we can divide it into 3 or 4 batches. There should be at least 1 batch of cultivator, and the message can be sent to the cultivators you want to notify. In the hands. Chen surnamed cultivator looked at Wei Suo and nodded. That's the trouble with Chen Shui and Lu Guangdaist. Wei Suo took a ritual to the Chen surnamed cultivator, and the movement of the hand, the brilliance flashed, but took out a lot of shapeshift great art great treasure, shapeshift great art, and point to the Chen surnamed cultivator and others. This, Chen surnamed cultivator and others were almost at the same time, because Wei Suo's several pieces of shapeshift great art great treasure and shapeshift great art in front of them were extremely amazing, which made them feel scared. Feel. Now the heavenly profound continent northern part and the central region border the secret place. The environment is very bad. This secret place is far away from heaven's dome. You will bring these shapeshift great art great treasures safely. Wei Suo reached out and ordered 4 of the terrifying scented core beads, which were placed in front of the Chen cultivator. These 4 are the annihilation golden core. These 4 things, plus the shapeshift I gave you great art great treasure, as long as you don't encounter the great treasure cultivator above the golden core 3rd layer, there should be no problem. It turns out that Wei Suo is now a number of pieces of Dao rank above shapeshift great art great treasure, including the one from Eastern Desolate Sect, the very mysterious space-type attack shapeshift great art great treasure and the previous use of white feather reverend, Xuanhuan reverend, Baiji Unkong, and the 4 annihilation golden core refining the golden core of reverend's golden core, all gave the Chen cultivator. Now Wei Suo's has an amazing shapeshift great art with 2 pieces of mystic level top rank and 2 shapeshift great art great treasures, and there are 8 in the hand. Golden core, along the way can be quickly refined into annihilation golden core. The Chen surnamed cultivator has deep roots with his parents, just like his loved ones and elders. Wei Suo naturally wants to ensure his safety. And then Wei Suo is ready to let Chen surname cultivator and they also go to Cloud Spirit Continent, so if the Annihilation Golden Core is not used, it would be like taking the 4 Annihilation Golden Core directly to Jia and others. You can rest assured that I have been hiding in Heaven's Dome for many years. I am very experienced in the traces of many monster beasts. I am carrying them directly in the wilderness close to the ground. No accident, there should be no great treasure. Danger Chen surnamed cultivator knows that Wei Suo's current divine ability has no shapeshift great art imagination, so it is not postponed. The Annihilation Golden Core is collected and some of the shapeshift great art great treasures given by Wei Suo are all divided. Chen Shu, this is their contact information and the message I want to tell them. After you have seen it, you will destroy it. This Chen surnamed cultivator would rather die than to disclose that Sky Sword sect killed his parents, that is, he was afraid of him to seek revenge. What was the accident? Concern for Wei Suo's and even great treasure, so Wei Suo he was also completely relieved. He took out 2 pieces of the note, and wrote the story to the cultivator. Chen surnamed cultivator nodded. After a while, the 2 notes were completely destroyed. Chen Shu, when you send them to them, they will all go with them to Cloud Spirit Continent, and I will come to meet you after seeing Chen's cultivator. He wrote down the section Shapeshift Great Art of Feng Xiao and others, and Wei Suo then transmitted the sound to the ear of Chen's cultivator. Chen surnamed cultivator knows that Wei Suo is so useful, just nodded, took a deep breath, looked at Wei Suo and asked, "Are you going to go to Demon Mark Ominous Vein first?" Wei Suo also took a deep look at Chen's cultivator and nodded. "I have to see at least my parents' fallen place." "You want be careful, this is for you." Chen surnamed cultivator looked at Wei Suo, eyes full of unspeakable God se, took out a thing and handed it to Wei Suo. Wei Suo is a little bit stunned. Chen surnamed cultivator handed to his hand like a green turtle shell, very simple, carved a lot of rune. This is the Earth Mother ancient scripture, which can be viewed with divine consciousness. Chen surnamed cultivator explained, "At the time, my parents and I were only overall summersing vein technique, but the Liao surname cultivator that was with me was the great treasure of vein observing. This is a vein observing ancient scripture left behind by him. His vein observing divine ability is also derived from this ancient scripture. Demon Mark Ominous Vein is one of the most dangerous places in all the vein observing books, whether it is the most succinct or the most mysterious books, and I personally experienced a lot of strange secret places. You have to go to the secret place. Maybe this thing will use secret place some. And if you create cave mansion in the future, you can also use this ancient scripture to choose a deep land of good fortune. After the meal, Chen's cultivator added, I have been on the road outside Heaven's Dome for a dozen years, and I have followed this ancient scripture to avoid some dangerous landforms. Ancient scripture of vein observing prospecting technique, Wei Suo was very curious and took over the turtle-shaped ancient scripture. I saw that this thing looks like a tortoise shell, but it is a hard and sturdy stone. The rune above is like a mountain and a river. Divine consciousness explores the road easily, only to see a lot of rune and catalogs. The utility is similar to the ordinary note blue. After accepting this ancient scripture, I talked with Chen surnamed cultivator and others for a while, and after giving a lot of various Danyao, Wei Suo and Chen surnamed cultivator and others left and went all the way to the south. There is Chen surnamed cultivator and other people. Wei Suo has no need to go to Zuji City, then he is going to Demon Mark Ominous Vein, ruins in the north, and then cross the wilderness, rush to Cloud Spirit Continent. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 700. Chapter 719 Best Results. Your body refinement technique Shapeshift Great Art can make your naked body stronger. Of course you can always tell me, is this gray bracelet for the monster beast with secret place? This is my secret place secret, no comment. Don't hit my bracelet idea, you still have to change the question. Where is the cave mansion of Tongtian Master? Where can I find the record of this ancient fragrance? He doesn't necessarily have a cave mansion at all. This is an ancient fragrance. You should lose it. There is no secret place left in your hand. Mother Hummer, I think you want me to lose you. Oh, you can't help it? Be careful heavenly tribulation. Why are you bad guys talking so vicious? You know that there are often cultivators missing near Cloud Spirit Continent. Even if there is a great treasure cultivator, there may not be a strange place to come out. Hibernation gas sea, Xiao heavenly realm, and many more. How much do you know about ruins in Baibei? Do you know what good things are there? I only know that the secret place of the most powerful corpse emperor scripture and rebirth bliss scripture in Baibei has been completely destroyed. The most powerful ancient scripture in Baibei is definitely gone. As for there are other things, I will not got it, anyway, for you, maybe the garbage has become a great treasure. Okay, don't ask me a question. I have nothing to ask. If you still want to ask, give me your essence medal. You give me the essence medal. I will answer your question. Go to hell, since you are not talking to me about Xiao, Yu Yin soul does not follow me. I will not give you food if I take essence medal to feed the dog. Bad person liar. You throw it to the dog, can the dog eat it? Where am I willing to go, can you manage it? Give me a dead little girl with a long horn on her head is very great treasure. In conversation with her Xiao, Wei Suo now seems to be a cultivator of this level, which is in no way in her eyes. From her front and backwards and these tones, she said not like a fake, it seems that more than 60,000 years ago, cultivation world, there are many ordinary cultivation world do not know the heaven shaking strong, the time of Deo cultivator, also the golden core cultivator called Reverend, will divine mystic great treasure energy level cultivator called the divine lord, will true immortal levels of great treasure can be called venerable emperor, and the great immortal above the true treasure can be called heavenly emperor. But in the current cultivation world, there is no such thing as the venerable emperor true immortal that little girl said. Not to mention the existence of the heavenly emperor class. According to some of her words, it seems that the broken arm master, and her so-called spirit race, heaven transcending great emperor, there are many more venerable emperor classes. The existence of that level, and for what will happen to the great treasure battle, why is it not in the record of the cultivation world? Now in the secret place demon mark ominous vein of the deep secret place of the ancient desolate wilderness, there is such a little girl called spirit race, and the rest of the heaven-shaking great treasure can be left without inheritance. That three sovereigns sect, it seems to be just one of the broken arm masters. Eastern desolate sect's secret place great treasure can pass on the power, that the great treasure cannot be like a cultivator, is it spirit race or other unknown existence. Eastern desolate sect the text of the highest text, and the text on the inscription on the house great treasure Xiao, does this little girl know? Wei Suo had too many questions to ask, but little girl felt that she couldn't ask anything from Wei Suo's mouth and started his idea of essence metal. Would you like to give the house the great treasure Xiao essence metal? Forget it, I can't digest that essence metal. Then you follow me, I know, your gray bracelet is definitely no shapeshift great art to deal with monster beast, you are safe with me. Xuanhuan Yuan, will I be afraid of monster beast? Be careful is stunned by heavenly tribulation. You don't bother to care for you. But Wei Suo this Jian business is certainly not little girl this Jian trader can compare, the innuendo, the sense of the wind, the Wei Suo also has already elaborated, not all essence metal has the function to the little girl, moreover little girl cancellation shapeshift great art and cultivator true UN, seems to rely mainly on gray bracelets, and the powerful energy of this gray bracelet is probably useless to monster beast, but it seemed to follow him not only because he was safer and coveted his essence metal, but there were other reasons. Steel Teeth younger sister, are you stalking me? Is it because there is a possibility that the broken arm is still there, afraid that they will deal with you, so I want you to help you find out where they are. On your strength. Be careful be heavenly tribulation. If you help me with some information, I can tell you something. Not interested? Don't pester me, I thank you very much, and then say what you told me, I can't get any secret places unless you give me the black copper. I can take you into the Baibei site, where I am very familiar with. Little girl saw Wei Suo not eating soft, using Beiyuan ruins to confuse Wei Suo. Forget it, I don't want to be killed by you why should you go? That's what you said, then I am advanced to use what is not useful to you, and all ruined. No matter what you do, nothing is better than being killed in the victim. The negotiations broke down again. Little girl was half dead by Wei Suo. She first turned into a purple streamer and plunged toward the direction of ruins of Baibei, but it was only a few miles away, but it was swept back. If you are willing to cooperate with me, I can tell you a heaven-shaking's great treasure message, you can definitely shake the entire cultivation world, and you must have a great treasure relationship with yourself, and if you have friends and relatives, it is also about the life and death of many of your relatives and friends. After flying back, little girl seemed to be very confident, as Wei Suo said. Is the life and death of many relatives and friends? Do you mean that heaven's dome life essence will do? Wei Suo said in his heart. You know heaven's dome, little girl was suddenly stunned and couldn't speak for a while. Other cultivators don't know, but I know it very well. Okay, nothing is useful to me, or don't pester me. Wei Suo has no swing on the surface. Well, as long as you swear to help me inquire about some news and help me to go to a place, I will take you into ruins of Baibei, and black copper can also give you. Little girl stayed great for a while, made a great treasure compromise, and looked at Wei Suo with a sigh of relief. Can your gray bracelet unravel all the restrictions in the ruins? As far as I know, there are many restrictions in the ruins of Baibei. Wei Suo does not move the surging sound color and continues to swing. The restrictions inside I know more about the great treasure. I can tell you how to unravel. All made me unravel, tired and exhausted. Little girl hates sharpening teeth. Inadvertently, she is also revealing a message from reveals. She uses a gray bracelet, and it is really like cultivator controls shapeshift great art great treasure, which consumes true UN. No, black copper, you certainly won't give it to me now. In case I promised you, there is nothing useful to me in ruins in Baibei. I am not dead. Wei Suo looked at little girl and said, unless you answer some questions I want to know. Good. Little girl had no choice but to help Wei Suo and finally nodded. Seeing little girl nodded, Wei Suo was also a great treasure. Through the words of little girl called spirit race and the judgment of God lust, Wei Suo can feel that this little girl is still a bit scrupulous about divine mystic great treasure, but not afraid, so it is not slow to follow. I am entangled. In addition, the previous township shapeshift great art did not use secret place in front of little girl, so this little girl's gray bracelet should have a role for divine mystic great treasure, both shapeshift great art and true UN, but it is possible to offset for the strong great treasure, shapeshift great art powerful energy and true UN, the consumption of little girl is also more powerful. It is very likely that it is barely able to cope, and it is more difficult. So there is this little girl around, and if divine mystic great treasure can catch up with it, it will increase the safety factor of great treasure. Although this little girl is cunning, there is no shapeshift great art to completely judge her true intentions, but she has not yet done the experience of Jian business. Sometimes when she is insincere and brainstorming, she will flash in the eyes and see it. Now Wei Suo has at least judged that she is somewhat dependent on herself and should not want to kill herself. And he has Jin family's ancestral Hall Jade talisman, and there are already a lot of records on the restrictions in ruins of Baibei. Through the records of shapeshift great art of restrictions unravel in ancestral Hall Jade talisman, and this little girl. Tell yourself a comparison, the heart will have a bottom. This long-horned little girl helped him explore the ruins of Baibei, answering his questions, and possibly the top-grade essence metal black copper, which is rare in the entire cultivation world. This is naturally the most for Wei Suo. The good jiao is easy to come by. That's it. But you have to swear, if you have any bad feelings about me, you will be killed by heavenly tribulation. Wei Suo's heart is full of great treasure, but on the surface is still wearing a look of disappointment, said. You can't pass my true identity out. Wait until I pretend to leave you. You can't let people know that I am following you. The people you brought, you let them leave first. Little girl saw that Wei Suo finally nodded and agreed. She also felt that she had eaten great treasure and had no gratitude. She bit her teeth and added such a sentence. No problem, but my brother Rabbit, I want to bring. The rest of these people, I will take them out for a while, they will give them directions and let them leave first. By the way, you can turn around behind us and see if there is a Sky Sword sect cultivator to sneak up. When the province got the divine mystic great treasure from Sky Sword section, Wei Suo nodded. In his plan, the original cultivator was to be divided into several batches. Because the cluster of cultivators is too great treasure, one may lead to a monster beast, and the other may be traced by Sky Sword Sect's cultivator. These cultivator great treasures have more vain observing ability to see good and bad, and walk through this wild wasteland, the probability of survival is much higher than the average cultivator. And among the wilderness of this wilderness, the key to survival is to rely on luck. Don't just encounter a very high-level monster beast. Otherwise, even if Wei Suo is now divine ability, he will encounter level 8 high level or above. Desolate behemoths are still likely to fall. On the contrary, the lower the grade cultivator, the lower the spiritual chi, the less likely it is to attract the strong great treasure monster beast. That's it, I am pretending to leave you completely, go around them and see if there is any Sky Sword sect cultivator secretly following, you will let them leave first. When they leave, I will come to you. Little girl reveals a pointed fang, and then turns into a purple streamer, sweeping out towards the sky behind Wei Suo. You liar, I will return to heavenly profound continent first. I will not let you off in the future. I will come to you for revenge. Little girl slid out and made such a surging sound, deliberately letting nearly 1,000 cultivators behind Wei Suo hear it. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziwei. Chapter 701. Chapter 701, Chongtian Great Treasure Light. Heavenly Mother Lake gathers demon mark ominous vein, only a few thousand miles away. Young fellow, the water of this giant great treasure is very old, it should have been from the beginning of heaven's dome, and it is so deep and secret place, cultivator is difficult, there must be a lot of water attribute monster beast, do you want it? Let's go in and explore. On the way to Heavenly Mother Lake, green-robed old man asked. I don't want to send it to the monster beast, Wei Suo replied directly. He hardships, crossing the savage, all the way, for fear of attracting anything unusually strong great treasure monster beast, so besides refining 8 annihilation golden core and ponder earth mother ancient s outside the crypt tour, Wei Suo did not carry out any cultivation, even Feng Wukang celestial star emperor's remnant from falling records, that is, Dark Nord H fighting revolution shapeshift great art did not try to cultivation. At this moment, there is no such thing as strong monster treasure in the ancient desolate domain, and now the tens of thousands of catalogs recorded in his Earth Mother ancient scripture, including scripture annotations, he has also realized great treasure half. The more he realized, the more he felt that the scripture contained an amazing great treasure, which was different. There are only xiao half of the catalogs that have not been enlightened one by one, or cannot combine the general outline to explore the true mystery of the entire ancient scripture. In addition, on the side of Li Ziai, a total of more than 90 sentences, a total of nearly 2,000 words of scripture, and 4 complete catalogs have been listed. The remaining scripture of the entire lightning waning moon seems to be running out. The nearly 2,000 words of scripture are for the time being. The 4 complete catalogs seem to have been completely connected into a whole naked body. There is a mysterious truth flowing through it, and it feels like a complete catalog of true Yuan's flow. And Li Ziai has been reciting for a few days, and it seems to be a dozen words that have been turned over and over. The broken catalog seems to be just the same catalog. This gives Wei Suo's the feeling that the shapeshift great art, which was attacked by the ancient 10 great treasure, may have only the last 10 sentences and the last album. Whether it's Earth Mother ancient scripture or lightning waning moon, if you can get one of the secrets, you can give Wei Suo a great secret place with great treasure. He naturally doesn't want to take too much risk, and at the moment he is falling from his parents. The closer the place is, the more his heart is also known as heavy, and he does not want to be in a big way. On the way to the demon mark ominous vein, Wei Suo and green-robed old man have long been planned. Let's explore the strength of Sky Sword sect around demon mark ominous vein. If it can be directly terminated, it will be directly terminated. If the strength of Sky Sword sect is that Wei Suo doesn't currently have shapeshift great art, then go to the North Ruins recorded in Jin family ancestral hall jade talisman to see if you can get a good secret of great treasure. Place. If the good secret place is enough for great treasure, Wei Suo can cope with the strength of Sky Sword sect in demon mark ominous vein, then Wei Suo will kill demon mark ominous vein again. If you don't get any secret place, still if you can't deal with Sky Sword sect, then Wei Suo will cross the wild and return to Cloud Spirit continent. After the cultivation base and divine ability are refined, look for Sky Sword sect to avenge. Demon mark ominous vein, the spiritual stones vein of the giant great treasure, is enough to affect the grand treasure of the whole, and all the high weights of Sky Sword sect are sure to know. Since Sky Sword sect is able to make a life-filling murder and explore the secret place, the Sky Sword sect is already in his mind, similar to the Eastern Desolate section, and according to Wei Suo's previous experience, basically all sect disciples are for their own benefit and sect's interests, no matter how good or bad. When Wei Suo and Sky Sword sect are against each other, the entire Sky Sword sect, I am afraid, will become his enemy completely. There is nothing to deal with. Great treasure most monster beasts still knows to hold the group, not eating the same kind, great treasure most sect, cultivator, but only for their own interests, regardless of good or bad, plus Weisuo is very clear that heaven's dome will break. This is indeed true. It can be said that it is the sorrow of the cultivation world. Along the ancient desolate great treasure, you can find demon mark ominous vein. That's, where is the secret place, where is demon mark ominous vein? The real demon mark ominous vein, the foreign minister is so amazing. Weisuo stand on the chicken scales. Green eagle continue to move forward. See the Chen surname cultivator said that an heavenly mother lake connected ancient desolate great treasure river, and he was originally thought to follow this ancient desolate great treasure river, the ancient desolate great treasure river to find demon mark ominous vein body location, but as the day color gradually dark, distance heavenly mother lake is still hundreds of miles away, he has seen, ancient desolate great treasure river far secret place in one side of the sky, there appeared a blood red light screen, a piece of the blood light the sky, far looks is terrifying extremely. Recorded in Earth Mother ancient scripture, demon mark ominous vein, ancient desolate one of the 8 great treasures, non-great treasure st great treasure, no shapeshift great art understands many of them strange and bizarre, extremely dangerous, into the fringe, are 9 deaths. By Xuanhuan is like demon king, the red light is underground, and the night view is blood light, and the blood is filled. In the shapeshift great art, even the great treasure surging sound, it is very likely to lead to the killing. Weisuo didn't think so much when I looked at the record in this ancient scripture, but at the moment, Weisuo's heart is also very shocking. The skylight in the demon mark ominous vein is actually seen thousands of miles away, and the top of the piece of blood light, the blood light is like a smoke, like a strong soul is twisting, very good terror. Mother Hummer, this kind of blood light doesn't seem to be just the fire of the underground fire. It's too strange. Young fellow, you have to be careful. Don't be so surprised with the ancient scripture. You don't know how to die when you die. Of seeing the sky's blood light, green-robed old man, who emerged from Weisuo's chest, couldn't help but roll one's eyes. The sky has completely darkened, and the skylight seems to have a strange magical power. Even the brilliance of the stars and the moon is covered, and people have a kind of ambiguity and the feeling of unclear orientation. Weisuo is also moving towards the direction of demon mark ominous vein, and the more frowned. It is also located in the deep secret place of the wilderness, but the secret place where demon mark ominous vein is located has a more ancient desolate atmosphere. And in addition to the more ancient atmosphere, there is a more heartwarming atmosphere. What kind of breath is, but it is simply unclear, the road is unknown, it seems that there is an extremely powerful ancient desolate monster lurking, and it seems to be the kind of dragon burial mound. The innumerable strong great treasure has the atmosphere after the fall, but fine under the discernment, there is a difference. Brother Rabbit, this is where it is terrifying. Going forward to demon mark ominous vein, even lazy I couldn't help but say that the phoenix green eagle is also feeling the fear of tremble. Mountain lime, the trees are scarce. Weisuo memorizes the relevant records in the Earth Mother ancient scripture, and I see that the landscape along the way is exactly the same as the record in ancient scripture. The rocky soil along the ground gradually became grayish-black, and the trees were increasingly rare. From the beginning, the ancient desolate great treasure is surrounded by towering trees, and slowly becomes a place of no more. In this place, both the eyesight and divine consciousness are affected, but it is not afraid to easily expose the line. According to the Earth Mother ancient scripture, the area where the ground is cracked is considered to be the real fierce pulse, but the ancient scripture also records that the square outside the ground crack is also the edge of the fierce vein, and it is equally dangerous. Looking at the area of the skylight, the area occupied by the ground cracks is going to be thousands of miles. At this moment, Weisuo has traveled to about 3,000 miles from the area where the ground crack is located, and less than 1,500 miles from the edge, but demon mark ominous the eccentric atmosphere that flows out of vein seems to have an effect that hinders divine consciousness and eyesight. Looking out from the sky, let alone seeing the scenes of demon mark ominous vein, even the scenes hundreds of miles away are very embarrassing. N. Under this lust shape, Wei Suo is ready to continue to approach hundreds of miles, then search for a cultivator that may hold some sky sword sect, but at this time, the red of the demon mark ominous vein among the light, a white great treasure light and a magenta great treasure light suddenly appeared. Today's code is relatively slow, this chapter can't catch up, the number of words is a little less, and the total number of words in the 3 chapters will be added back tomorrow. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 702. Chapter 702 To Great Treasure Chest Not Great Treasure. What is the meaning of this? Young fellow, Earth Mother Ancient Scripture let me see. Eing a white great treasure light and a magenta great treasure light in the sky's blood light, green-robed old man was shocked. After saying this to Wei Suo, he suddenly turned it out. A green light, sneaked into the Earth Mother Ancient Scripture in the hands of Wei Suo. Read treasure light and fierce light at the same time, this time, Wei Suo was slightly stagnation, and the brow was wrinkled even more. Green-robed old man used to look at the great treasure of Earth Mother Ancient Scripture. I didn't take a detailed look at each catalogue and annotation, but Wei Suo has already read the record of demon mark ominous vein. It has been clearly recorded in the brain. The records in Earth Mother Ancient Scripture are very detailed. The white great treasure is like a cloud, this is the great treasure of spiritual stones, and spirit light is a dang. In other words, the spiritual stones in the demon mark ominous vein is really amazing, and now it's just a lot of spiritual stones. But in the Earth Mother Ancient Scripture, it is also recorded that in the demon mark ominous vein, except for the white great treasure light and the red light from the earth fire pen, any other light is fierce, which is representative of unpredictable great treasure fierce treasure. All cultivators see fierce light, they are to stay away as soon as possible, otherwise there will be a disaster. Mom, it is a taboo, when I saw the fierce light, it was unfortunate. Did the Sky Sword sect cultivator dig out the spiritual stones and dig out what shouldn't be dug? He green-robed old man was also quickly screamed, and it is obvious that it has been seen in the Earth Mother Ancient Scripture. Brother Rabbit, we have to leave here quickly, this place is terrible. Li Zi's current injury has almost completely recovered. In addition to his face, he has had at least decades of life essence, but he thinks he is a rabbit and he is also very timid. Now Wei Suo pauses. Down, he couldn't help but say scared. It doesn't matter, we are still far away. There are a lot of bad people in it. It is their first thing to stop. Wei Suo's eyes flickered for a moment, comforting Li Zi. Now that he has come to this secret place, naturally he will not easily retreat for this fierce light. Suddenly, it seems that in the center of the demon mark ominous vein, there is a surging sound of the surging sound, and the ground below the position of Wei Suo seems to be shaking. At the same time, the sky light above the demon mark ominous vein suddenly glared red, forming a bloody red KO, which swept through the sky. The blood red KO has spread for more than 1,000 miles, and it has not stopped until hundreds of miles in front of them. The white great treasure light and the purple red fierce light have all disappeared. And there seems to be a lot of gray-black xiao shadows in the blood red KO. Which seems to be what creatures? What the hell is this? Green-robed old man's face is called a surging sound, and he looks at the Earth Mother Ancient Scripture, but the Earth Mother Ancient Scripture is just a light stroke, blood light like Nedsp, great treasure. Mom, I haven't seen great treasure chest for tens of thousands of years. Actually, when I come to this place now, I will see the great treasure. Rian-robed old man was suddenly angry with great treasure. Wei Suo's brow is also a fierce jump. He had been staring intently at the sky above demon mark ominous vein, just as the surging sound dull roar surging out, and he felt as if there was something great sound a dim amount, and then and as if scattered strong great treasure powerful energy. Remember blood light formed a red Nedsp, blood light the formation of the Chao 11 and quickly retreat. which unexpectedly is an G manipulated shot manipulated out, fell down. I am doing it, this is what? One arm, still fresh? An arm flies so far? What the hell is it? Rian-robed old man saw the thing and almost passed out. Among the red blood light, one of the things that was shot out was actually a broken arm of a cultivator, and the fresh shui was dripping, which was obviously just broken. The feeling of this place has been terrifying and weird. The secret place is gray-black, filled with unspeakable suffocation, and the underground is almost inseparable. At this time, I will see a broken arm in the air, green-robed. Old man is naturally scared. Young fellow, you have to do what? /P. But green-robed old man, a surging sound, hasn't finished yet. It's even more scary for him. Wei Suo is now controlling the Phoenix Eagle, not retreating, slamming toward the right side. Shoot out. Pu. At the same time, Wei Suo slammed his hand, and the black mystic fiend Yin Qi rushed out of his hands, and instantly smashed it out. Mom, what is damned thing, you are all. Green-robed old man couldn't help but jump because he didn't see a roll of things until mystic fiend Yin Qi came back. It's a creature, is the cultivator. /P. Among the mystic fiend Yin Qi, it was a bunch of reddish figures. The green-robed old man was almost numb, but until it was rolled out, green-robed old man was clearly seen by Wei Suo. It was a bloody cultivator. The cultivator looks like a 40-year-old, loyal, wearing a hemp-colored shapeshift great art, now almost dyed red with blood, without any surging sound. This guy is still alive. Green-robed old man made a certain decision and took a word. Because he saw that Wei Suo had no stop at all, he took out the crystal stone, took out a drop of Yao liquid, opened it with true Yuan, wrapped it in the cultivator that he had rolled up. Is it a great fight in the demon mark ominous vein? This cultivator and the cultivator's residual limb are thrown out by the powerful energy of the excited Dang. With the radical Dang's origin Qi throwing 1,000 or 2 miles, is this the powerful energy of shapeshift great art too expensive? Rian-robed old man regained his ability to think after he fixed his mind, and at the thought of this, green-robed old man couldn't help but pour Nebsp, ah. The middle-aged cultivator, which was rolled up by Wei Suo in front of him, suddenly shocked the naked body, and a surging sound seemed to have a nightmare-like surging sound. Wei Suo reached out, but a Danyao directly slammed into his mouth. True Yuan sent it, and the surging sound was directly swallowed by the cultivator. Where is this, am I dead? He middle-aged cultivator of the numb clothing is a fierce and stiff, and after a while, the great treasure is said with a horror, and the pair has never returned to God. His head, forehead, and corners of his eyes are also blood. Some of the blood is flowing through some fine xiao wounds on his head, and some seem to be the blood of others. You are not dead. We are the cultivator that passed by. I saw you being thrown out of demon mark ominous vein and saved you. Are you a cultivator of Sky Sword sect? Wei Suo does not move the surging sound and looks at the cultivator who seems to be not on his own body. The appearance of this cultivator looks a bit miserable, but it is a wound that has been struck by a small xiao thing. The naked body has no great treasure damage, but it has too much blood loss, otherwise Wei Suo does not use blood crystal stone. Can also save him. I am not dead, I am saved by you, I am no longer in demon mark ominous vein? He cultivator turned the head, and looked at the place where the blood light was shining. It was completely reminiscent of the gods. It was full of panic and incredible look. Some words were incoherent. I am not a cultivator of Sky Sword sect, how come you come to this secret place? /P. You are not a cultivator for Sky Sword sect? How can you be thrown out of it so amazing distance from inside? What happened in demon mark ominous vein? Suo did not answer the name of the robbed cultivator, but asked directly. This paralyzed robed cultivator has only the cultivation base of the heavenly circuit fifth layer and does not pose any threat to him. At this moment, he looked at it. The position of demon mark ominous vein seems to have completely restored the calm, but in the breath of the surrounding, there is a hint of humor. Demon mark ominous vein, you know demon mark ominous vein, it should also be the shapeshift great art of vein observing. Under the name of Menu, he was originally a probe of the Mingjia firm of the Ayutthaya city in the central region, and was later secretly taken by a senior Skysword elder to help them explore the veins. Are you also a detective? Is it just to find the secret place? I have Skysword sex restrictions heavenly sword, and maybe Skysword sex cultivator will come soon. You will leave soon. If you encounter it with Skysword sex cultivator, you will definitely not let you off. He middle-aged cultivator, who is loyal and has a wide face and a wide face. The middle-aged cultivator with a wide lip is still undecided, but after a slight return to God, he did not answer Wei Suo's, but he was very anxious. No problem. When I heard the middle-aged cultivator of the paralyzed clothes, Wei Suo did not ask what was inside, but the divine consciousness was released and pressed against the robed cultivator. The body of the robed cultivator was suddenly shocked, and then the face showed a shocking look. In this case, the paralyzed robed cultivator is also reflected. Wei Suo is a cultivation base amazing golden core great treasure cultivator. I promise you to leave should not be a problem. Don't worry, tell me how many cultivators are there in Skysword sect, how many golden core great treasure cultivators, cultivators with golden core fifth layer and even divine mystic realm? Inside, like you, how many cultivators are not Skysword sect? Eisuo surging sound asked quietly. Skysword sect has a total of at least 1,000 cultivators in this secret place. We often see the golden core great treasure cultivator with 3, not, plus the name just now, there are 4. I have no naked body. I don't know if there is a cultivator above the golden core fifth layer. But the cultivation base of the golden core great treasure cultivator is amazing. It is not comparable to the general golden core cultivator. He cultivator named Menu immediately said, there are at least 1,500 cultivator great treasures that don't belong to Skysword section. What does that name mean? Is it the cultivator of shapeshift great art? What happened to the inside? Eisuo blinked and asked. And the spiritual stones vein in a crack in the east side, it seems that something terrifying has been dug up with spiritual stones. It is said that a team of 6 or 70 Skysword sect cultivators who went to the siege were all killed. We happened to be in a crack in the ground next to the vein, and we heard the unusual shift of shapeshift great art surging sound, and we all rushed out. After we came out, we just heard that there was something terrifying in the crack. Later, we had not had time to run away. We saw that there was a purple light in the crack, and then there was a black great treasure cultivator. Just falling from the sky, there is a curve shift great art great treasure on the hand, which is pressed down towards the purple town. The breath of the black great treasure cultivator was suffocating, and divine might was awkward. The cyan runner in his hand seems to swallow the heavens and the earth. Then I only think that the secret place is the powerful energy of the strong great treasure. After that, I don't know what happened. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 703. Chapter 703 Antiquity Lifeform, Samsara Bearing Disc. Terrifying Things. Cyan Runner? Sure enough, the shapeshift great art, rolled out 2,000 miles, is this power, is immortal artifact? Green-robed old man is not visible at the moment, but the surging sound of the Zhou air conditioner is repeated in Wei Suo's ear. Immortal artifact, is Skysword sect actually having immortal artifact in hand? Wei Suo's face was calm and waveless, but his heart was also very shocked. Even Annihilation God Spear can't have such powerful energy, unless he has the explosion of the ancient core refining Annihilation golden core on Mystic Wind sect old antique. The hurricane is likely to roll the cultivator to 2,000 miles. Outer. Before Wei Suo got a positive answer from Shui Linger's mouth, there was no immortal artifact in the hands of great sects such as Mystic Wind sect and True Martial sect. Even according to Shui Linger's inference, immortal artifact has been annihilated in the cultivation world for a long time, and the entire heavenly profound continent does not necessarily have the existence of immortal artifact. Is immortal artifact born now? If Sky Sword sect guards the hands of Demon Mark Ominous Vein's great treasure cultivator, there is really immortal artifact control, and Wei Suo, who has the town of Shapeshift Great Art, may not be sure. Is the black great treasure cultivator never seen before? He is a golden core great treasure cultivator, not divine mystic great treasure? Wei Suo Shenyin a bit, then asked. Men Yu, who was still worried, nodded. The black treasure cultivator has never appeared before. It may be built in Sky Sword sect in the bronze great treasure hall of Demon Mark Ominous Vein. His spiritual chi condense is a god phantom with an ancient sword in his hands. It should be a golden core great treasure cultivator, not a divine mystic great treasure. Handheld great treasure different great treasure, usually does not show up. This black great treasure cultivator is not ordinary golden core cultivator, a purple light, the cultivator is alarmed, and the Demon Mark Ominous Vein is extremely amazing. Wei Suo took a deep breath and asked, what kind of scene is there in this secret place Demon Mark Ominous Vein? Are there several spiritual stones veins? In addition to the spiritual stones, are there other things, and other strange secret places? Demon Mark Ominous Vein, there are 3 spiritual stones veins, and the 3 spiritual stones veins extend down to the depth of the underground fire. In addition to the spiritual stones, there is also a red gold vein, a silver slag concentrate. Pulse. All the ground fissures, there is a full of earth fire, not near, there are 2 of blast bursts, do not know how strange, into the cultivator, none of them survived, there is a ground fissure collapse Xiao half, it is said that a few of them have dried up spiritual chi spiritual vein direction, but there is a secret place sun regulation weeping blood of the landscape, fierce in the fierce, and it is said that there are often underworld yin things appear, even into the area near the ground. Fissure cultivator, are often mysteriously missing. There was a collapse of the Xiao half, and there was a dry spiritual chi spiritual vein going, hearing the words of Men Yu, Wei Suo's naked body could not help but tremble. Because his parents were forced to enter the direction of the spiritual chi spiritual vein by Sky Sword sect by, that is, it is very likely to fall into this crack. Demon Mark Ominous Vein is quite a strange bizarre sinister. Almost every day, the cultivator is strangely missing, I don't know where to go, and even Sky Sword sect's restrictions show that the cultivator has fallen. Sometimes many cultivators will suddenly die without any abnormalities. Sometimes, in some veins, the strange origin chi will suddenly appear, and the contaminated cultivator will be turned into white bone. Men Yu went on to say that the tone was full of horror and he was glad that he was still alive. Brother Rabbit, someone is here at this time, Lizzie I suddenly said a surging sound with some fear. 2 red and white brilliance, flying out of the direction of Demon Mark Ominous Vein. The breath of the skylight in Demon Mark Ominous Vein is very weird, blocking the sight of the cultivator, divine consciousness. At this point, the 2 escape lights are less than 1,000 miles away from Wei Suo and others, but with Lizzie eyesight, but it is still not clear, faint, like a flower in the fog. They are very likely to have noticed that I am not dead through restrictions, come and grab me back, vaguely seeing these 2 escape lights, Men Yu cried out in fear. Don't worry, it's not the golden core great treasure cultivator on these 2 escape lights. Wei Suo is not moving the surging sound color and has no intention of leaving. Seeing Wei Suo so calm, and seeing Wei Suo's very different general cultivator, Men Yu did not say anything after opening his mouth, but still looked at the 2 escape lights with some fear. Young fellow, do it cleanly, otherwise it will be felt by Sky Sword sect's great treasure cultivator, and if there is immortal artifact in hand, It is really great treasure today. The surging sound of green-robed old man rang in Wei Suo's ear. You are waiting for me here. Wei Suo still does not move. The surging sound color, speaking to Li Ziyi and Menu. Invisible shapeshift great art clothing? Li Ziyi naturally listens to Wei Suo. Menu is now all dependent on Wei Suo. Naturally there will be no objection, and Wei Suo will take a shapeshift great art dress from the storage bracelet and put it on the body. The whole figure will disappear immediately. In the eyes of Li Ziyi and Menu. When Li Ziyi and Menu were a little surprised, a transparent streamer that was almost invisible to a row eye had already swept toward the two escape lights without any surging sound. A moment later, Menu saw what the two escape lights seemed to be attracted to, and swept down. After a while, a black shadow swept from Menu and Li Ziyi from the front. What the hell is he? Two Sky Sword sect cultivators were easily caught by his no surging sound. As soon as I saw the shadow of this group, Menu's mind could not help but come up with such thoughts. The group of shadows, Wei Lu, who was calm, was photographed by two Sky Sword sect cultivators wearing the black shapeshift great art. Two Sky Sword sect cultivators wearing a black shapeshift great art costume flashed, apparently alive, but without shapeshift great art, even surging sound could not. Menu, these two Sky Sword sect cultivators, do you know? Wei Suo, who had removed the invisible shapeshift great art, fell to Menu and Li Ziyi and took two Sky Sword sect cultivators in front of him. The two Sky Sword sect cultivators are all about 30 years old. One cultivator has two eyebrows that are upside down. A cultivator has some female faces and looks feminine. This person is called Mei Fengling, who is usually responsible for guarding us. He also knows some of the shapeshift great art of Vain. Observing Menu clicked on the Sky Sword sect cultivator with some feminine, and looked at Wei Suo. I don't know this person, but the Sky Sword sect cultivator wearing this color shapeshift great art is Sky Sword sect's true disciple. Wei Suo nodded and reached for a hand. A true Yuan hit the throat of the Sky Sword sect cultivator in the face of feminine. You, what the hell are you? Do you dare to be enemies with our Sky Sword sect? Wei Suo True Yuan hit it up, and the face of the feminine Sky Sword sect cultivator suddenly spoke and called. Do not talk nonsense, answer my question, or a question will not answer, I will ruin you. A foot fleshly body. Wei Suo has no surface lust, stretches out a hand, and a black fire hits a piece of rock on the left side of the Sky Sword sect cultivator. The rock is directly burned into fly ash. Amazing heat. The face of the left side of the Sky Sword sect cultivator, which has a facial feminine, has a layer of blood. This Sky Sword sect cultivator has a look of pain and anger. How many golden core great treasure cultivators does Sky Sword sect have in this secret place? Wei Suo didn't even care about him at all, and then he asked without a table lust, and a candle-like brilliance was ignited in his hand. Our Sky Sword sect has 5 golden core great treasure cultivators in this secret place. The Sky Sword sect cultivator was terrified, but Wei Suo's god lust made him feel that Wei Suo would definitely say it, plus this secret place is not far from Demon Mark Ominous Vein. If they don't go back for a long time, inside Sky Sword sect cultivator will definitely come out to explore. Therefore, he did not resist at all, and he said with a pair of eyes. Which of the cultivation base is the highest? What is the cultivation base? Wei Suo then asked. The highest of the cultivation bases are cultivation base of Sky Sword sect Supreme Elder Xuanhuan, Golden Core 4th layer late stage. Is Xuanhuan the black great treasure cultivator that is only hand in hand? What is he and what is it? When I heard the question from Wei Suo's, the Sky Sword sect true disciple named Mei Fengling glanced at Menu and knew that the lust shape was definitely what Menu said to Wei Suo, but he also I didn't dare to stop, and then replied, he is indeed the cultivator that is only hand in hand, and is working with the antiquity life form in the spiritual stones vein. There are antiquity life forms in the spiritual stones. Demon Mark Ominous Vein is really too evil. Green-robed old man is again screaming a surging sound. What kind of antiquity life form? Xuanhuan's face shift great art great treasure, what is shape shift great art great treasure, what is rank? Wei Suo brows and continues to ask. I didn't come close. I don't know what antiquity life form is. I just saw a purple light. The 670 cultivators that started to encircle it all fell. The shapeshift great art great treasure in Supreme Elder's hand is Samsara bearing disc, which is the strong great treasure to great treasure of mystic rank high grade. Mei Fengjing looked at Wei Suo and said that the secret place implies a strong great treasure threat. It is obvious that the shapeshift great art great treasure of mystic rank high grade will definitely make Wei Suo feel shocked. Just mystic rank high grade shapeshift great art great treasure, but what made him feel incredible in his eyes was that Wei Suo felt that this shapeshift great art is a low treasure, cold. It's just mystic rank high grade shapeshift great art great treasure. How could it be? Powerful energy, rushing people to 2,000 miles away. That's because the antiquity life form came rushing out, destroying our sky sword sex number of heavenly sword away restrictions, origin chi induced BSP, just mystic rank high grades shapeshift great art great treasure, golden base fourth core layer cultivation, that shouldn't be dealt with. What's the problem? Just this demon mark ominous vein inside is too eccentric, incredibly also has the antiquity life form existence, does not know is what ancient desolate the monster beast. Green-robed old man kept groaning in Wei Suo's ear and was very afraid of death. I really wanted to tell Wei Suo that we are still safe and don't feel like going to the ghost place. How about the lust shape inside? Was the antiquity life form killed? Wei Suo, regardless of green-robed old man, asked. The antiquity life form has been suppressed by Supreme Elder with Samsara-bearing disc, Mei Fengling replied somewhat proudly. What is the special mystery of Samsara-bearing disc? Wei Suo heard Mei Fengling use the words of suppression instead of killing. The intuition is subtle and continues to ask. The Samsara-bearing disc contains Supreme Great Treasure Road Rune, which can suppress people first, cut off the origin of the origin chi, and slowly get stuck. Samsara bearing disc is covered with 100 feet, unless it is divine mystic great treasure, it is difficult to avoid, and it is not divine mystic great treasure. The great treasure road rune can also make people trapped in it. Without shapeshift great art communicates with the origin of origin chi, without shapeshift great art. Shapeshift great art, simply out of trouble. Mei Fengling did not hide the function of Samsara bearing disc, and there was a sneer on his face. The meaning of his sneer is self-evident. Wei Suo is obviously just the golden core cultivator. In his eyes, Wei Suo can't be the opponent of this shapeshift great art great treasure. Covering 100 squares, however, Wei Suo is not at all shocked. Even if it is the cultivation base of the golden core fifth layer, this shapeshift great art great treasure is only 100 squares. If he sacrifices the temple shift great art, he will not may suppress him. Now his only concern is the other unknown dangers in the demon mark ominous vein. After all, the Earth Mother ancient scripture is very clear. Even if the heaven-shaking great treasure can, entering the demon mark ominous vein may not be able to leave safely. The other four golden core cultivators, what is the cultivation base? Wei Suo then asked calmly and coldly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 704. Chapter 704 only burns 1 foot. 2 golden core second layers, 2 golden core first layers. Mei Fengling tells the truth, the eyes are fierce and flickering. I feel that Wei Suo is doing this, it is simply looking for a dead end. Do you know you Sky Sword sect a cultivator named Wan Jianzan? Wei Suo's face, Gujing, has no bow, and he continues to ask for calm and cold. Wan Elder, Mei Fengling was a bit suspicious. Looking at Wei Suo, Wan Jianzan Elder Golden Core First Layer Cultivation Base is one of the other 4 Golden Core cultivators. I am doing, young fellow, The enemy who can't think of you actually hits golden core and becomes the golden core great treasure cultivator. Green-robed old man screamed at Wei Suo's ear. Good, he is not dead yet. Wei Suo heart-killing intent. Hey, sneer a surging sound. Do you have a hatred with the elders? You actually want to find revenge for the elders, you are simply looking for death. Mei Lingfeng suddenly saw the clue, but also sneered. Do you know the news of Buddha nature holy fruit? Wei Suo asked directly. I don't know. Mei Ling wins a glimpse. Do you know these two ancient characters? Wei Suo reached out and Tru Yuan made a few ancient characters. Do not know. Have you ever heard of an ancient shapeshift great art device, like an amber burning incense, a strong gas treasure, like a prison, in the moonlight? It seems that there are countless invisible light symbols. Wei Suo has no surface lust and continues to ask quickly. I have never heard of it. Mei Lingfeng felt that Wei Suo's problem was simply inexplicable. How many cultivators have you cheated to this demon mark ominous vein? How many cultivators have been forced by you, and died to help you Sky Sword sect? Do you feel guilty when you do these things? Wei Suo continued to ask. What do you want to do? Are you sick? Mei Lingfeng felt that the issue of Wei Suo's was getting more and more strange. It really couldn't stand it and couldn't help but scream. I didn't tell you that if a question is not answered, I will ruin your 1-foot fleshly body. You are not answering my question now, but ask me. Are you fart when I say? Wei Suo's face is still calm, but a black fire is from his hand, hit the body of Mei Lingfeng. Pu a surging sound whistle, Mei Lingfeng's eyes bulged, and another eye of Sky Sword sect cultivator, which at the same time felt that Wei Suo was sick, was also instantly bulging. Wei Suo's this black fire is directly on the secret place of the heart arteries of Mei Lingfeng. It is only a sigh of fire. But this heart artery's secret place is a square foot to burn the fly ash. Even Wei Suo will definitely not live, let alone this Mei Lingfeng. Mei Lingfeng is not directly surging sound with a direct eye, but the Sky Sword sect cultivator of this inverted eyebrow is now unable to produce any surging sound, otherwise it may not be able to resist great treasure. It is. Screw your sister, even green-robed old man couldn't help but call a surging sound. Are you really a place for this size? What is your name? Do you know more about him than the antiquity life form? Demon mark ominous vein, is there such an antiquity life form? Wei Suo didn't stop at all, reached for a hand, and a Tru Yuan broke into the throat of the cultivator. My name is Ma Konkan, the Sky Sword sect true disciple, who saw the eyebrows, said that Wei Suo said that he burned a foot, and the result was a direct blow to the murderous vein. How dare he defy it, and quickly answered his face, I and Mei Lingfeng were both before. On the other side of the ground crack, only the elders of a golden core second layer rushed to consciously lost, only to disturb the guardian Murong supreme elder. Demon mark ominous vein often has some weird monster beasts, but like today's strong great treasure, the antiquity life form excavated from the spiritual stones has never been seen before. How many cultivators are there for the golden core above the Sky Sword sect, and how many cultivators are there for the golden core third layer? Wei Suo looked at the scary sword sect true disciple, which was already scared to death. He asked, I heard that your Sky Sword sect has an old antique called Huangpujualun, which is divine mystic great treasure. Is this news true, and he is now secret place? As far as I know, we have a total of 22 Sky Sword sect golden core great treasure cultivators. There are 7 cultivators above the golden core third layer. The old ancestor is indeed divine mystic great treasure. He should be here now. We sit in the town of Sky Sword section. The Sky Sword sect cultivator, named Ma Konkan, did not dare to hide it, while talking on the heart. 22, Wei Suo eyes flash, a sneer appeared on his face. He knows that in addition to what Ma Konkan knows, the Sky Sword sect, the great sect, definitely has some old antique characters at the bottom of the box. Even if you don't count the characters at the bottom of the press, there are 22 golden core great treasure cultivators. This strength is far from what sect can imagine. And this kind of great sect, Master the strong great treasure resources, maybe every 10 years, there will be a golden core cultivator popping up. But this has nothing to do with Wei Suo. Wang Jianzan, one of the murderers who killed his parents, is now at Demon Mark Ominous Vein. He must deal with it, just make sure divine mystic great treasure like Xuanhuan is not here. It will be fine. You started this secret place Demon Mark Ominous Vein 10 years ago. At first you wanted to explore the direction of spiritual chi spiritual vein. What do you want to explore based on the dry spiritual chi spiritual vein? Is there anything now that I am sure that there is no Sky Sword sect great treasure that can kill myself? Wei Suo is not in a hurry, and then asks. You, Ma Kongqun great treasure was surprised. He seemed to want to say how you know this, but in an instant he also reacted and didn't dare to talk nonsense. A few years ago, it was the probe of our sect cultivator. 2,000 miles away on the side of the Demon Mark Ominous Vein, there is a secret place ancient ruin, which seems to be the gate of ancient sect, which is extremely long. But the mountain gate went deep underground, and there were countless powerful restrictions on the periphery. Even the old ancestor arrived in person. It was said that it was impossible to break through the restrictions, just to see that the spiritual chi spiritual vein of Demon Mark Ominous Vein is very likely to enter. Secret place ruins, if it is along the dry spiritual chi spiritual vein, maybe it is possible to enter the heart of the secret place ruins. Sure enough, there are ancient Rumen ruins, 2,000 miles. Wei Suo's vision flickered for a moment. Sky Sword sect may have to use spiritual vein to enter the gate of ancient section. Wei Suo and green-robed old man have long been guessed, but these 2,000 miles do not seem to be recorded by Ancestral Hall Jade Talisman. The ruins of Baibei, because according to the records of Ancestral Hall in Gan, the secret place Beiyuan ruins is at least 7,000 miles away from the Demon Mark Ominous Vein. But the spiritual chi spiritual vein here is very complicated, and there are so many bizarre things in it. It's hard to survive the cultivator that enters the veins. Just like the spiritual stones veins of the antiquity life form, you are at the distance spiritual veins recent crack in the ground. In the past 10 years, we have only advanced more than 1,000 miles, and at least a straight distance of miles, it is possible to enter the heart of the secret place ruins. Ma Kongqun went on to say. A decade has only advanced more than 1,000 miles, and the cultivator that enters the veins is hard to survive. It seems that you have been forced into the cultivator, and the number of cultivators has been reduced. Wei Suo took a deep breath, and the town slammed the killing intent, which was hard to say. There are quite a few. Great treasure has more than 2,000. Wei Suo's is not like a question, but Ma Kongqun is afraid that he will not answer, and he is hesitant to say the same as Mei Fengling. More than 2,000. Wei Suo looked up at Demon Mark Ominous Vein's position, and there was an icy flame in endless burning. More than 2,000 cultivators. His parents are just two of the more than 2,000 cultivators. In addition to the 5 golden core great treasure cultivator guards, are you at Demon Mark Ominous Vein? Are there any restrictions? Wei Suo looked at the bloodlights Demon Mark Ominous Vein and continued, do you have shapeshift great art in contact with Sky Sword sect? If you have a great treasure here, can the cultivator of Sky Sword sect come to you soon? In addition to the 5 golden core great treasure cultivators, we have heavenly sword departure restrictions around every crack in Demon Mark Ominous Vein. In addition to the heavenly sword hall, where our Sky Sword sect cultivator lives, there is a heavenly sword great treasure. Ma Kongqun's identity is not low, and there is a lot to know. One by one, we are in contact with Sky Sword sect, through the cultivator. There are 2 batches of Sky Sword sect disciple every day, coming from Heaven's Dome. This secret place, our secret place also has 2 batches of cultivators that rush to Heaven's Dome in the early morning and at noon. If there is no cultivator back in a day, we will know that Sky Sword sect will definitely have a great treasure change here. Good. So to say that all the Sky Sword sect cultivator here is killed. At least 1 day later, Sky Sword sect received the news. By the time divine mystic great treasure can be able to escape, the day has come. We have already escaped and the figure has disappeared. As soon as I heard Ma Kongqun say this, green-robed old man was excited about the wow great treasure. Wei Suo's eyes narrowed slightly, looking at Ma Kongqun. Heavenly sword departed and heavenly sword great treasure, what kind of restrictions are they? Heavenly sword departure and heavenly sword great treasures are all using the metal attribute great treasure array built by Chi of Gold Fiend. They can all be used to produce thousands of golden flying swords and kill opponents. The difference is heavenly swords powerful energy equivalent to mystic levels shapeshift great art great treasure, but heavenly sword great treasure has a powerful energy equivalent to mystic level top rank shapeshift great art great treasure, and the heavenly sword great treasure is only the divine mystic great treasure can be arranged, the unique origin Chi condensed light pattern. The great treasure can cut the opposition of the shapeshift great art and the shapeshift great art great treasure powerful energy. Ma Kongqun is not a true disciple, like a few treasures. Is it comparable to the mystic level top rank shapeshift great art great treasure, and can also reduce the powerful energy of the opponent? Wei Suo's brows suddenly wrinkled. It's the power of mystic level top rank shapeshift great art great treasure. He is not afraid, but if his own powerful energy against the enemy is annihilated, he may not be able to deal with it. Heavenly sword great treasure can cut the extent of the opponent's powerful energy against the enemy. What is the scope of the envelope? How about the naked body powerful energy? I don't know, because this restrictions haven't been used since the Emperor old ancestor. Covering a range of about 3,000 feet, protect all the heavenly sword bronze temples. Heavenly sword is the place where you live. This restrictions, no shapeshift great art attacks do not enter the cultivator in this area, Wei Suo asked again and again, his eyes flashing. This restrictions can only protect the cultivator of the secret place, as well as kill the cultivator that enters it. Heavenly sword the copper temple is the usual residence of our sky sword sect cultivator. Ma Kongqun is getting more and more astonished because he feels like it, and Wei Suo seems to be attacking demon mark ominous vein. One or two people attacking demon mark ominous vein guarded by thousands of sky sword sect cultivators. This thought of shapeshift great art made him feel incredible. In this case, if you don't enter the secret place, you should have no problem. Menu fellow deist, you have some understanding of the inside, please ask us as a guide for the time being. Wei Suo took a deep breath and said to Menu, who was equally astonished behind him. Really want to attack? The breathing of Ma Kongqun and Menu stopped at the same time. Just enter the chapter content of the cloth. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 705. Chapter 705 is extremely ominous. For two people, I want to attack thousands of Sky Sword Sect Cultivator, 5 Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator Guarded Demon Mark Ominous Vein, and Sky Sword Sect Supreme Elder Control Heaven Shaking Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure Powerful Restrictions. Foam. This is of course unimaginable for Ma Kongqun and Menu. I have a good friend named Liu, but looking at Wei Suo is a very firm face. Menu is a bite, first said such a sentence. You want me to save him? Wei Suo seems to understand the meaning of Menu. When he looks at Menu, he nods. I can't guarantee that I can save him, but if you enter with us, I will do my best to help all the Sky Swords sect by his force to cultivator here. Well, I will go in with you. When we heard Wei Suo say this, Menu rushed up and nodded hard. Since you can trace the great treasure to the great treasure, you must be very familiar with which route is safer. Bring us into the demon mark ominous vein and I can put you in a path. Earth Mother ancient scripture records that the demon mark ominous vein is within the 500-degree radius of the ancient desolate restricted area. It is extremely dangerous. The secret crack of the secret place demon mark ominous vein itself is about 1,500 miles, adding up to the great treasure. In the 2,000-mile area, Wei Suo did not dare to make it easy. After nodding at Menu, he said to Ma Kongqun, I will take you in. Ma Kongqun immediately agreed with surging sound. For him, this is what he wants. He doesn't believe that Wei Suo can deal with the Sky Sword sect cultivator in the entire demon mark ominous vein. In his opinion, with Wei Suo and others entering the demon mark ominous vein, he instead have a living path. Wei Suo didn't say much. Divine consciousness swept the treasure receiving pockets that were found on the two Sky Sword sect true disciple. The contents of the two Sky Sword sect true disciples treasure receiving pocket are very simple. There are only a few shapeshift great art great treasures that are not available in Dao rank, some spiritual stones and Danyao. There is nothing special about it. Then, Wei Suo didn't stop, and reached out, but he sacrificed the red essence metal flying shadow of the Ma Konkan controls, and reached out to restore the activities of Ma Konkan's limbs. The ability is just to use a true Yuan imprisoned shapeshift great art from Eastern Desolate sect to seal Ma Konkan's true Yuan. Young fellow, you do not great treasure Italy, do not want to use the remaining water candle monster core, one is not early to sacrifice the town day shapeshift great art phase. I was a few years have not seen the naked great treasure Xiong, do not want to fall with you in this great treasure fierce place, these levels sect cultivator in this place, perhaps there is any pressure at the bottom of things, you ask more. Green-robed old man shouted as Wei Suo began to follow Ma Konkan's instructions. You Sky Sword sect is in the demon mark ominous vein, is there anything special that can threaten the great treasure cultivator? Wei Suo followed green-robed old man's suggestion and continued to ask when he was controlling the shapeshift great art great treasure. We are only responsible for guarding these cultivators on weekdays. We also know some of the arrangements in section. As for the subtle things of the naked body, we know that it is not so clear. Only a few elders and Supreme Elder will know Ma Konkan is now seeing life, not even dare to anger Wei Suo, answer quickly. Young fellow, you can't find it, first find a chance to hold a Sky Core cultivator from Sky Sword section, green-robed old man said in Wei Suo's ear. Wei Suo's eyes flashed a few times, didn't talk, and didn't know what he was thinking. I noticed that Wei Suo looked like this, and green-robed old man didn't say much. He knew that Wei Suo's would definitely have a plan. What is it, but just follow Ma Konkan's instructions for 100 miles, green-robed old man can't help but surrender a surging sound. In the sky ahead, there are countless laps of the ghost of the great treasure Xiao, like a creature, looks very weird, it seems that there were many such shadows in the bloodlight like Xiao. That's just the demon mark ominous vein. The dark shadow formed by the strange origin Qi at night, there is no powerful energy, you can pass it. Ma Konkan also saw the color of Wei Suo's face and explained it. Just a few phantoms from demon mark ominous vein, Wei Suo controls the flying shift great art great treasure continues to move forward, seeing this piece of black shadow as the ashes of the goose ma great treasure Xiao, but there are only a few fine dust, no substance. Demon mark ominous vein center, the sky is cracked, and this kind of shadow is often seen at night, and if the earth fire under a certain crack is raging, and the dust is more, the condensed shadow will still form a piece of grey-black wood chips. Menu added. Walking through the shadows of the sky is like walking through the black goose ma great treasure Snow White, but after a while, there seems to be a great treasure in front of the water, starlight, like a starry sky. Ma Konkan also immediately pointed to the left side of the area. Don't enter the area and bypass the left side. What is this weird? Green-robed old man couldn't help but scream. This place, which looks like the water of the same great treasure, is not a water area at all. It is a lot of faint brilliance on the ground. It looks like a starry sky on the water. It looks close, but it looks like it. It seems that the fireplace is scattered on the ground to the secret place. Ghosts and fires, seeing such a scene, Wei Suo is a move. He has seen the Earth Mother ancient scripture in the catalogue, this kind of landform is called the ghost, the day does not see anything unusual, and the night into, even digging the ground, is also not see why there will be a little light, the initial entry into this landscape, there will be no strange feeling at all, but the time is long, let cultivator divine consciousness again strong, is also to be in the Mi road, the fundamental discrimination is not clear direction. In this area, as long as you enter, after a while, you will lose your direction and turn one yuan inside. Sure enough, Ma Kongqun's explanation is the same as the related introduction in Earth Mother ancient scripture. The closer to the heart of the demon mark ominous vein, the more divine consciousness is affected. Wei Suo suddenly asked for surging sound. Because even if he feels more and more forward, the line of sight seems to be more and more away, and divine consciousness is more and more like walking through the water, and great treasure is hindered. Yes, Ma Kongqun nodded honestly. In the central area, divine consciousness can only reach half of the usual range. And the line of sight is also affected by the blood light and the eccentric atmosphere, which is not clear enough for dozens of miles. Ancient ghosts. Be careful, don't touch those black chi. At this time, Raman Yu and Ma Kongqun were both a surging sound, and a great treasure called, in front of a valley in the grass, suddenly bursting out of a burst of black wind. And when Menu and Ma Kongqun called out the great treasure, Wei Suo also felt that the black winds that spread out in the mountain valley were very weird. Divine consciousness touched up and seemed to be caught in a black dong. There is no shapeshift great art stretch at all. What is the ancient ghost? What is it? Wei Suo didn't dare to make great treasures. He first retreated directly toward the rear. He waited until black wind no longer emerged from the valley and slowly dissipated before moving on. Ma Kongqun, fear of appearance, quickly replied, Huang Pu old ancestor said, this black wind, there may be tens of thousands of years of the siltation of hostility, the classics almost no record, the ancient ghost wind as we later named, this black winds can be hit cultivator's divine consciousness, even if the thought division realm into this black wind, will cultivator divine hit, become an idiot. Direct damage to divine consciousness, both Wei Suo and green-robed old man were taken aback. There is no record of this kind of thing, Earth Mother ancient scripture. Demon mark ominous veins cracks, sometimes this kind of black wind, there have been dozens of fellow deists being swallowed up, and then all crazy, even the spiritual Yao of divine consciousness does not work after a few days of crying and laughing, all died. Menu is also a white-faced addition. It's a bad thing. This ancient ghost has only one Xiao film in this area. Today, there are so many, is it because of the antiquity life form? Ma Kongqun couldn't help but say. Why, is this ancient ghostly? Not so much, Wei Suo's brow wrinkled. There is not so much. In the area of this mountain valley, there is only such a ghost in the area of more than 100 feet. Ma Kongqun shook his head and looked at the mountain valley, very nervous. Someone eat this time, Li Ziyi suddenly pulled the Wei Suo's corner and came out of the surging sound. Someone, how come there will be people? Ma Kongqun and Menu are also immediately stagnant, and they are surging sound. At the moment, Wei Suo continued to move forward with the shapeshift great art great treasure. Ma Kongqun and Menu also saw that there were two figures standing in the valley where the ancient ghosts emerged. It's the cultivator corpse, but it's not just the fallen cultivator. Wei Suo didn't stop and went on. Just when Li Ziyi came out of surging sound, he already felt that the two figures were motionless and there was no blood row. It should be the skeleton of two cultivators. Dear God! Is antiquity phosphorus corpse? We actually saw such ominous things. Just a moment, Ma Kongqun's face was screaming white, and the eyebrows were almost stunned. The two bones actually burned themselves, and the white and green smoke was rolling, and the phosphorescence was shining. The fire was clearly seen. It was indeed two skeletons, but the skeleton was grayish-black, and there seemed to be a thick layer of grease. In general, it will not appear to be extinguished after burning for a while. What is damned thing? Green-robed old man felt that he couldn't stand it anymore, and he couldn't help but shout. What is this antiquity phosphorus corpse? Wei Suo couldn't help but ask. This thing is extremely ominous, I don't know when it will pop out in the seams. Sometimes it will also appear in the veins, and no one knows how there will be such a weird bone, but the age of this bone is extremely long, and the cultivator that is seen later will be more than dead. Ma Kongkan looks like he is about to cry. It's more ugly than when it was made by Wei Suo. I know that there are a lot of cultivators in Demon Mark Ominous Vein. I saw this kind of thing, and later I died. Menu also looked at Wei Suo. Young fellow, we want to flash people. Green-robed old man couldn't help but say in Wei Suo's ear. Wei Suo took a deep breath, but did not stop, continue to move forward. There are too many strange things in this secret place. Demon Mark Ominous Vein. If you encounter something unclear today, you will retreat. If you come back later, you may not dare to go in. Seeing that Wei Suo's mind has been decided, green-robed old man's depressed screaming called two surging sounds, but it's no longer saying anything, but it's about his own life, and Ma Kongkan's face is not so bloody. Be careful, but then there is nothing particularly surprised. This is Demon Mark Ominous Vein. After half an hour, Wei Suo and others went to the area of Demon Mark Ominous Vein and looked inside in the outer air. Although they could not see the naked body, they were more than a dozen blood red. The ground crack, but it is shocking, from the sky, like the grey-black great treasure is a giant great treasure of the ancient desolate monster beast, and these straight sharp blood-red cracks, like sharp claws out of the wound. Among these wounds seems to be bloody, various baleful aura tumbling, and many secret places are next to the cracks, standing on many high platforms, blast furnaces, shining with various brilliance, flames, in the floodlight filled the world, a scene that is hard to imagine. Any cultivator, in the face of such a scene, must be trembled.